Thank you very much. Togbe Chairman, my very, very good friend, Togbe Afede the 14th. I owe you a visit, and you'll see me soon, inshallah. The Chairman of the Council of State, Dasibre Utusirbo II. Members of the Council of State, Nananom, Chiefs and Queen Mothers, Ministers of State and Deputy Ministers, friends and invited guests, our Chief Imam, Sheikh Osman Nuhus Sherbotu, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, friends of the media. It is a distinct pleasure and privilege to be with you here, standing in for His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic, who asks me to extend his apologies for not being here at this time because of other state duties that he is performing at the moment, but assures you that he will come through here during your deliberations. So I'm just paving the way for his arrival. The issue, Nananom, ladies and gentlemen, the issue of Galamsey and its menace and the menace it poses to our country is a very, very important issue. It is an issue, I think, that has woken up the country because, as we saw in the video that was just shown, our lands are being destroyed. We all know that God made this earth and put us here, and basically gave us this land. You, the chiefs, are the custodians of the land. And in our traditions, you are God's representatives on this land. In our tradition and beliefs, you are the closest to God, and therefore, if there is a destruction of our lands, it really is a practice that is going to undermine the very institution of chieftaincy itself, as well as undermining our whole country. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the government have taken this fight against Galamsey very seriously. In fact, I don't think in our recent history you have seen any government that has really mobilized in this fashion against this Galamsey menace. It's been a very deliberative action that the government is undertaking, and even as recently as last night, as we met in cabinet session, this issue was under discussion. It is an issue that is close to the heart of the president. When I came here, I looked around, I saw the chiefs from all over Ghana. I said, wow, Ghana is here. But also, Ghana is here, but the government is also here. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo recognizes the very important role the chiefs have to play in the governance of this country. He understands how close you are to the people and how critical you are as chiefs to the resolution of many, many of our problems. Thankfully, as someone who is also from a chieftaincy household, he recognizes this. And therefore, he is very, very fortunate in that regard to really recognize your pivotal role, and that any government really that is going to succeed has to draw closer to the chiefs. And he's doing exactly this. Here, as I said, the government is present. You have here the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the Minister for Science, Environment, Technology, Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation, Minister for Information, Minister for Defense, Minister for Interior. You have Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, similarly, Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry. The government is here. And so is Ghana also here. As I say, Ghana is embodied in your presence here. So as I said, the destruction of our lands really is a destruction of Ghana. Land, ladies and gentlemen, is our most important asset. In fact, we don't recognize it. For the most part, we take it for granted. There are many countries who would be so happy to have 1/4 of the land that we have in Ghana, just 1/4 of it. If you look at it, many countries are having issues with land because as the population is growing, and the world's population is growing significantly, the question that is out there today in the development literature is how are we going to feed ourselves, and will there be enough water for us to drink? The water issue is a very important issue, and people are even thinking very way ahead in how to do this. So we should not take for granted the land that God has given us. I think we take it too much for granted. And when we destroy this land, of course, we are destroying our agriculture. We are creating health problems when we destroy our rivers. You see the sort of practice that is taking place in our rivers. You saw in the video machines that have been put in to do mining in our riverbeds with cyanide, with mercury, which is causing us many health problems, as well as making our water undrinkable. As was said, even the processing of this water, the treatment of this water was not possible recently by many water treatment works because it had gotten so bad. And so we are taking a very forceful approach, but a comprehensive approach towards this problem. Nana Akufo-Addo recognizes that stopping Galamsey also means that we have to provide alternative livelihoods for the people who engage in the Galamsey activities, because some may just be engaging in it as part of desperation and not knowing what else to do to eke out a living. So we have to take into account a comprehensive and a holistic solution to this Galamsey issue. We have to deal forcefully with it, and this is where the role of the armed forces and the police will come in, and they are being resourced, should I say. They are being resourced to deal with this. And we are seeing this not as a one-time matter, that if we are going to deal with the problem of Galamsey, it has to be a sustained effort. You don't go in and go out, because once you go out, they will just wait for you to go out and they will come back again and continue. So in terms of preparation, and this is why some people have wondered why it is taking time, you have to prepare to send in the forces and the troops and all of that for a sustained effort to deal with the Galamsey problem. Of course, we believe that to create alternative livelihoods on a sustained basis, you really have to transform this economy. The economy as it is today is not creating sufficient jobs. And this is why, as a government, we have identified certain pillars to make sure that we create these jobs on a sustained basis. The government has launched the Planting for Food and Jobs program, which is our major agricultural initiative. And this program seeks to increase agricultural production as well as productivity. We have reduced the prices of fertilizers by 50%, when we are making improved seeds available. We want to make sure that we establish mechanization centers in all districts to allow for access to tractors and other farming implements. We also believe that we need to increase investment in this economy's infrastructure significantly to create jobs. And this is why Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is very committed to finding the resources to inject for the creation of that development of that infrastructure. We are happy to note that we are very much on course, God willing, to bring about an integrated bauxite aluminum industry in Ghana, which, if it is done, will make sure that our Western Railway from Takoradi all the way to Kumasi is done. Our railway from Accra all the way to Kumasi is done. And our railway from Kumasi all the way to Paga is also done. This is something that we are very much going to do. And this is going to be started this year. We don't want to talk and it becomes talk like other talks. Nana Akufo-Addo is very much focused on this matter, and we should see the beginning, at least with the Western Railway line starting, and we have the work cut out for us. We are also going to, in this context of revamping infrastructure, really move very quickly to construct almost 1,050 kilometers of roads. We've identified all these key roads that are at a standstill on the Eastern Corridor, on the Western Corridor, on the Central Corridor. A total of almost 1,050 kilometers of roads, and that will really transform the road sector in this country. There are so many roads in the farm plains and other areas that if we actually constructed, will make sure agric really comes to the fore. So many fertile lands are not in play in this country, and we need to bring them in play with the road development project. One of the results from the trip I recently made from China is that we are going to get the construction of 90 bridges in this country within the next year or two. We are going to move forward with that across all the regions, and these bridges have been identified already, and we are just going to go and make sure we bring a lot of places which have been cut off back into circulation. We have 25 district hospitals to construct, and homes of about 100,000 houses. The Bupe Inland Port would also be constructed along with the Buankra Inland Port. And these will really help us as we try to get this economy going. The One District, One Factory project is a very important project. Thankfully, we have been able to secure an amount of $2 billion for this particular project, and it should see us move very quickly. So the process of getting this economy moving and creating alternative livelihoods is very key. And Nana Akufo-Addo is very clear in this, and we are moving. We want businesses to thrive. We want to make Ghana a very business-friendly economy. And this is why in the very first budget, which was passed at the end of March, we are moving from taxation to production. This is taking its course, and we removed a lot of taxes. My friends at Abosokai, finally your taxes on spare parts have been removed by the law, and now it is going to be in operation this week going forward. It is very, very good, because then you can have people bring in various parts for industry, and they will do so without duty. We are on course, and we are moving in many directions to change this economy, to transform this economy. The government's flagship approach to dealing with Galamsey is the multilateral mining integrated project. And the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources will talk a lot on it when he comes up, as far as the very elements of this multilateral mining integrated project. But we are not doing this alone. There are many countries that are standing behind us to do it. We are taking the lead, but we are getting support from other countries who have also recognized that this is not good. What is happening in Ghana, as far as Galamsey is concerned, is not good. And so countries such as Australia, Canada, China, United States, they are all pitching in to help us to deal with this problem. They also find it something that we should deal with. And we are going to count on their support. But fundamentally, we are taking the lead. We are making sure that we prioritize this issue and we allocate the resources for this issue. If you prioritize it without allocating the resources for it, then you are not going to be successful. But Nana Akufo-Addo has prioritized this, he has allocated the resources, and we are going to go in a big way. We really are going to count on you, the chiefs, to help government, to help Ghana, to help yourselves, because as I said, the chieftaincy institution is itself under threat. But I know that from the numbers I am seeing here today, that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's efforts are going to be very, very much supported by you, and I thank you in advance for this. God bless you, and God bless our homeland, Ghana.